Coming up on Unlocked, episode 393, we've got a lot of talk on Rage 2. A new Ghost Recon was revealed, and we have plenty of news regarding Rockstar, particularly on some new acquisitions they've gotten and a new game. And that acquisition comes from kind of a sad thing, so we'll see how that goes. And then plus, we've got some news on respawning, banning piggybacking players in Apex Legends. So for more on that, stay tuned. As you have guessed, probably, I am not Ryan McCaffrey. I'm Miranda Sanchez, filling in for Ryan while he is out on some work trips. And joining me this week is Destin Legary.
Hi, everybody. Bam!
Yay! I wanted to start with you because you had that
Gotta bring the energy.
Yeah. Mark Medina.
Hey, guys. Gotta bring it back down.
That's not why I
brought
you back.
That's, yay. How's it going?
And then making her podcast Unlocked debut, Janet Garcia, our newest wiki editor.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, thanks for coming.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah, you're working on that big old Rage wiki?
Yep.
Yep, that's gonna...
Driving through, shooting some mutants, among other creatures and people.
Yay.
Goons.
Some goons.
Shooting everything.
Yeah, so I guess let's just go ahead and dive into it. How are you guys feeling about Rage 2? Like, we seem to like it pretty well. You know, our reviewer, Dan Stapleton.
I hate it.
Well, that was him, so this is you.
Yeah,
Different opinions.
I super do not like it as much as Dan does, but I liked it okay.
I don't actually hate it. I think it's Like, the story didn't really grip me. Mm-hmm. The gunplay is really good. I'll give it that. The gameplay is probably why people are going to keep coming back. There are some jokes in the open world that I've seen online that you'll probably enjoy. But if you like Doom, you like the gunplay of Doom, you're probably going to enjoy the gunplay of Rage 2. I hear Dan said he was at about the 20-hour mark, and he still has more to do. So, or no, he was at the 12-hour mark, and he said he had plenty to do after that. Yeah, and I think people are guessing it's around 20 hours to like clear everything, and they're going to continue supporting the game post-launch. So that's good.
Yeah, for me, I'm not the biggest shooter fan to begin with, so I always like to preface things with that when it comes to a game of this genre, but it's all right. I think the gameplay is really fun, and for me, I'm also kind of have a weird perspective because I'm just assisting on the guide, so I'm doing a lot of the side quests, which is a totally different experience than just like beelining the campaign. But I've actually kind of enjoyed just going around collecting chests. It's very like, you know, classic extreme, kind of that Doom sense, like you punch everything open and everything's just like, you know, cranked up to 10. But I really enjoy the different nanotrite abilities you get, which really help vary the gameplay, especially a lot of people that come into a shooter like this, they might be like super skilled at shooters or might be a little bit more casual. And I think Rage 2 is really friendly to both of those demographics because like the gameplay is just so fun with like how you can use your abilities and kind of combine them and sort of become overpowered by default if you just kind of go ahead and decide to get all those upgrades and then come back and just like nerf through the campaign. It also has like various difficulty settings from easy, normal, hard. There's cheats you can turn on. So I do feel like it's pretty friendly if you just kind of want to jump into something simple and easy and that you can just kind of beam through. But there is definitely a little bit more depth if you want to go there as well.
I streamed this with Mitchell Saltzman yesterday, and sort of a fascinating conversation started to happen with chat. And it was about, I hear the game's 12 hours long. What do you even do after that? And I was like, well, let me take you back in time to a world where there were only single-player games, and you would play them, and then you would play them again and get better at them.
Or you play them once and say, hey, I did that.
Yeah.
And then you move on to another game.
Yeah, I think it's weird to have that conversation when Sekiro, like it's this crafted experience that you kind of go through, and then Rage comes out and they're like, oh, I don't like that. What's the post game like? And I'm like, it's just a game. You just play it. You do all your stuff, and that's okay.
It's very strange. You get like two audiences. You get the people that think that every single game should last them the rest of their lives, or when they get a game like that, such as Destiny, Anthem, Division, they hate them because they don't end. So I'm like,
or there's not enough. Yeah.
I think they hate Anthem for other reasons, but
so there's not. Maybe not enough in the end game there. That's a valid concern.
Yeah, I think what's crazy though is when you have a game that's just flat out good and almost undisputably good. Obviously, we all have our own tastes and opinions, but there are some games that are like very critically acclaimed, like God of War as one example just from last year. And like when it's a game that's just good, you don't really hear those conversations. It doesn't matter if it's really long, like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like it doesn't matter if it's short, like God of War. If it's good, people just like it. They come back to it. They still enjoy digging into the world. So I feel like in some ways, if you're even having that conversation, that's almost like a strike against the game. Like if that's immediately what we're going to, maybe it's lacking in other areas that we're not discussing.
Yeah, but it literally came out today. So
Yeah.
the only perception people have are what they've seen from streamers or people with early access like IGN. So I guess what I'm saying is like Redbox is a great service. You can rent games, you can try them out, and then for like, what is it? $5 for a video game, I think. I know it's like
have
$1.
no idea
It's
anymore.
$1 for DVDs.
Sometimes you can get like
like
a
$3 for a game.
yeah, you can do like, or you can do like a $7 for 3 days. It just depends on the
There's a lot of ways to try this out without having to like heavily invest if you're a little curious about it, but not really wanting to pull the trigger on buying the full game.
I'm a big
Renting is
advocate
good.
of rentals,
Yeah, absolutely.
me too.
especially for games that you're not sure about.
I feel like it's very surprising to hear people think that 12 hours is short. Like that's good. I mean, like 3 or 4 hours, that's short.
Yeah.
Those games absolutely exist.
But that's like every Uncharted game. I don't think anybody says like Uncharted's short.
Yeah,
Like,
Joel's
It's not 4
This
hours.
is not
No.
a PlayStation
Oh,
podcast.
I'm talking about 12 hours.
Yeah.
That's
well,
right.
not to spend
It's
too
not-
much time on
No,
this,
but
do you guys
yeah.
think that's a symptom of the genre? Like, do we feel like we see this more for like shooters and like
I
games of
think
this
it
nature?
could be like an open world thing because people love Doom 2016, and that's just like a linear corridor shooter. And because this is like an open world game, people expect there to just be unlimited amount of content.
It's launch
And,
day. Sorry,
you
Mark.
know, I just don't think it's there.
It's launch day. I think we'll see more about like where this game falls. I think part of this is you guys are talking about symptoms. There wasn't a lot of marketing for it, which was surprising to a lot of people. I was surprised. Did you guys remember seeing any like trailers or anything?
I mean, I just remember the E3 stuff and just like every other time they showed it at different events.
IGN
And-
first.
Yeah, I mean, I personally have never really been all that interested in this game. I looked at it and said, meh,
Yeah.
and then moved
I
on with
was,
my
like,
life.
half
Never really
interested.
tried to find any more of it.
I got to get back to my no life games like Destiny and Final Fantasy.
I mean, yeah, I just started Final Fantasy, except the server was down yesterday, so I couldn't
really?
actually start. Anyway,
Are you
Which
playing
one?
on
14?
yeah,
Oh
playing
yeah.
on Xbox or PC?
they don't have it on Xbox.
Yeah,
Oh.
Mark,
Sad.
you
Still waiting
insensitive
for that
jerk.
day.
Sorry, guys.
I mean, that would be really cool.
It's our dream to have it on Xbox.
Yeah, there's so many things I want on Xbox. I'm like, guys, please. Maybe E3. Who knows? It could happen.
Miranda, I got the dumb car. I got the Final Fantasy car that you can get in Final Fantasy 14 right now.
Ooh.
You have to go play the carnival games. You got to get like 200,000 coins or whatever.
I have
And
no
then you
idea
buy
what
it.
that is yet.
Is that game
Yeah.
I'm ready.
still subscription?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I'm diving in on top of Dota and Apex Legends and everything else that I play.
Talk about
daily.
games that don't end, right?
I know. Yeah.
Do you have a crew to run with? You should let people know what server you're on.
Yes, I do have a crew run with.
Oh, okay.
So I'm keeping it.
I
quiet
play on
right now.
Barry. I play on Barry. My name is Pride of the Sunset, or it's Pride of the Sunset. I had to make a bunch of different accounts, but Greg Miller used to call me Pride of the Sunset because I briefly lived in the Sunset.
Aw, cute.
That's
adorable.
We did these Let's Play series together, and anyway, sorry, I'm
Aw.
rambling.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, that's my character name forever
Yeah.
now. So
Mine is Rilakuma bot.
Oh,
'cause
okay.
I love Rilakuma. And then I just like bot. It works. It's fine.
Great.
It's a new like X. You know, when you're a kid, you put like the XX or whatever.
You can tell a lot about someone from their like gamer handle or their go-to like
Oh, for sure.
username for sure.
Mine was taken. So I was very angry.
Havoc Rose.
It was taken.
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
excuse me?
My name on Final Fantasy 14's Havoc Rose. I've had that for a while. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Oh,
Thanks, Mark.
it must have been me.
Anyway, so that kind of, Rage 2, we'll see how we feel about it later. But before we jump into the news, I wanted to give a quick shout out to E3. This little thing you may have heard of that is coming up and is going to be a super big year for us because this is Microsoft's time to show off like their big things,
That's
right?
yeah.
They've also been saying, guys, this is going to be a big year. We're like, all right, we're holding you to that.
Yeah.
So, very excited for that. So please keep tuned to IGN. Like we have so much stuff coming up about E3 before the show even starts. So like just keep your eyes on there. Check out our wiki. Check out our content. Follow us, all that good stuff. Just like a reminder, like we're gearing up and we're already super excited. We'll have our little features called the Road to E3 coming up here soon. So please check those out to get a quick update on like everything that's coming. So like last time we saw Halo and like why it's important and all that good stuff. Even though I don't think we really need to tell you guys why Halo is important to us, but you get it.
Go watch it.
Yeah. And so now let's just jump into the news.
this one.
You're not supposed to talk.
I forgot the audio people.
What I need
I'm
to
sorry.
know is what is going on in the video version while those songs are playing.
Nothing,
That
Mark.
just-
It's just us sitting there. That's why I'm acting like an idiot.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it like went to something.
No.
Okay.
I'd also like to note that Ryan did not teach me how to do any of this, so I'm just like,
You're doing
this is where it goes. I remember we say this, and thankfully they're labeled well. There's another one in the middle that I think I know where that's okay.
So
anyway,
Ryan simultaneously did and did not help.
yes,
This episode.
yeah. So I am learning on the job.
And I took the name bars down in a reasonable amount of time this episode.
All right, also we have video. Welcome
Yeah.
back, y'all. Anyway, I know people are always waiting for the video. Sorry.
This is my first time on the video in here. And so that's why I didn't know what happens during the songs.
You know-
Apparently, they get to just stare at us.
It's really fun. That's why we do goofy things.
I could fix that, but nah.
But no,
Whatever.
it's a good opportunity for us to be goofy. Well, we used to have the show back in here, so I ran our anime show, and we would decorate our table every episode. So I think we might need to bring that back.
You know what's really funny? People are like, "Where are you guys now?" It's so weird. I'm like, "We're actually in the room where all the shows started."
Yeah.
But we used to be on the wall on the other side of the camera, and now we're on this wall. And CJ put this stuff on here just to give it sort of a textured look.
So fancy.
And we added the lights because we used to stream it. We also stream out of here sometimes. And it's a multifunctional room. It is not a bathroom, as the commenters have said a few
Or a
times.
closet.
To give context, like when you used
kind
to
of
watch the shows before, there would be the giant gray IGN on the right.
Yeah.
That's right there.
Yeah.
now.
It's just flipped.
We're just on the opposite side.
And that's your podcast unlocked news. But now on to the real news. So first up, we have a game reveal ahead of E3, which is always really weird. Ghost Recon Breakpoint
Yep.
was announced by Ubisoft.
Sure was.
The amount of I paid attention to this, sort of. Mark, you did a much better job than I did. But the coolest thing was how people get injured in this game and how the healing works. You don't really go into a down state, right?
Yeah. I don't think so. I think
But you
just
get
limp
really
and
messed
stuff.
up.
Yeah. I'm not a big Ghost Recon fan at all. I love Ubisoft games. I feel like I said this on another podcast, but
I think you just said it for
unlocked.
Rage.
It was unlocked last week.
because we talked a little about this like kind of
yeah.
speculation. It hadn't been announced yet, and so now that it has.
I love
Probably
Ubisoft games except for the Tom Clancy ones. And another rule to that is except for the Division. But yeah, it was. People are really hyped about the mud. You can like go under mud,
Go all
Predator
Predator mode?
style.
Yeah.
It was so cool. So like he's in a combat scenario, right?
Yeah.
And he like dives in the mud. He covers his face and he like covers his arms and everything.
You could do that
and
in
then,
Last Tomb Raider.
Yeah, and then he like, but then he like lays in it. So like it looks like he's just part of the mud, and these sentries are walking by him slowly through the foliage, and then he attacks, and he gets all of them, and it's really cool.
I like that a lot.
I want to do that.
What I can say is the people that like Ghost Recon in this office seem to be hyped for this game. So
I don't like Ghost Recon that much. I didn't play Wildlands. I just wasn't into it. I am stoked for Breakpoint. It's basically Wildlands 2.0. That's what
it looks like it.
That's what it seems like to me. I'm
Yes.
excited. I'm excited to try it out.
On the fictional archipelago of Aurora
What about you two,
in Pacific Ocean.
Miranda?
I have a confession to make.
Yeah, nothing.
So you know how you said you like most Ubisoft games? I dislike most Ubisoft games. Like
no.
they're just
Fair.
it's just not it's like weird because they're so different, but they all still feel the same to me.
Sure.
And like I can kind of get into these. I like the latest Assassin's Creed because it was such a deviation from everything they've done previously. But generally, as far as like their big open world stuff goes, it's not really my cup of tea. I do enjoy like watching streams here and there, and like I think it's interesting, and they have some obviously really great design, but not super interesting for me. So this one's probably gonna be one I'll give a hard pass on. I think it's out actually this year. I'm so glad we have another fall announcement, so it'll be on October 4th. So I guess I'll be playing something else in October.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, it's just not a franchise I ever really got into. That being said, I'm always willing to try stuff, especially with, now being in the IGN office and having just like more access to be able to try games and, wanting to play them and talk about them and see what it's like from a perspective of someone that's from the outside of the franchise or something that I'm always interested in. So I'll probably check it out just for like the novelty of it. But honestly, it just probably isn't my style of game. But it is interesting they're kind of incorporating these new elements, and maybe this will be enough of a deviation that it could have, cast a wider net in terms of the audience.
So
was there anything you guys saw from the reveal? Like, I watched out of the corner of my eye while I was doing other work, so that was my.
I think the story seems cool. It's like a guy that it starts with like him wanting to help people. So like he's making like electric cars that can drive themselves, Elon Musk style, and then eventually becomes mad with power, or I don't really know, something like that, where basically like he's turns bad.
As you do, yeah.
So it's not going to be long where we're living in our own Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Well, that's exciting.
Cars are starting to drive them.
Yeah, we have those
starting to drive
robots.
themselves
That's a
out
sign.
there.
The coffee robots and everything. San Francisco is half robot, to be honest.
Yeah, there's that robot over on King Street. That thing weirds me out.
I'll be honest, we could use some more robots,
Yeah.
but that's just my own preference.
Have you seen that robot over there?
Yes, I have seen it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The drivers in
The
SF
security
are
bot.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were some things that I'm interested in. Like, I do like that introducing, like, in quotes, like light survival elements. Like, I do really like that. I do like you can sit in the mud. I personally do not want to sit in the mud, but if my character can sit in the mud, it's great. Surprise people. I do like those kind of like stealth elements. And anytime there is co-op, I'm always interested. I'm just like, hello, I have siblings who live across the United States, and I would like to play video games with them. Is this something we'd be into?
You know what I love about all of Ubisoft's demos?
What?
The co-op is not at all indicative of what it would be like in real life.
Oh,
They're like,
yeah.
God.
all right, we've coordinated. I'm coming up to the car. All right,
So-
let's drive away in a coordinated manner. No, some dude's going to be like hitting a bong, rolling in, not paying attention.
I feel like I was talking with somebody about this recently. Was it on the show?
I think it was us. I think we were talking
Oh,
about
we
it.
were talking about it. Yeah, we're like,
Yeah, me and Brandon.
That's not how people speak
No.
in real life. I think from those demos, the thing that always surprises me is that there's always a lack of shock or any sort of surprise in the players. And the way they speak is so direct. It's like, I know this video game. We are going here and then doing this. And you need to move over there. Please come this way. And it's just really weird, kind of robotic. And I know writing that kind of script is really hard. And you can't just record the...
I get why they
Take
do
it in
it.
the box.
It's to
It's not
give
a
you an
thing.
impression of the gameplay, right?
Yeah.
But it's a little comedic.
At the same time, that's kind of what was cool about like Sea of Thieves' promotional material. Like they had, I remember one of the
just
first
a
times
streamer.
I saw, it was just like people that were actually playing it, and it felt so organic and relatable. Obviously, that was still like crafted to a degree, right? That wasn't just like pulling some random person's Twitch stream. But I think things like that help it feel like this is something that I can engage in, even if I'm not like, like an expert in this game or this genre. So yeah, it would be nice to kind of see a little bit more of that.
Here's what I can say. Me and Destin were in a Ubisoft video, and making those videos are fun because we're just like, what were we playing? It's Division 2.
Okay, yeah.
And we're just like, boom, and flank left, and like all this like over the top. Like,
To be fair, I
action
kind of
stuff.
do play that way.
I don't.
So you're a hypocrite. This is all.
No, I like when I stream, I kind of get
You're
into
like,
it.
all right,
So-
I'm in. Like,
The video is just
I think-
is very fun to make.
There are points when you want to like make smart callouts and stuff, but just sometimes. Well, the video we were watching was for The Division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what it was for. Never mind. I remember now. And this person was just standing out there getting like shredded. I'm like, my dude, what are you doing? This is a demo. And like, of course he has to go down, but the way he went down was just really goofy.
Yeah.
No.
So it's just, things like that. You're always a little bit critical of them, but they have to show off their features, right? And that's what they're for at the end of the day.
There's a YouTube channel. I don't remember who it was, but they did a If Real Gamers Played It sort of trailer for Anthem, and it was really, really funny.
Okay.
And
I like
you
that.
should check that out.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that up. So that is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. We have
One more thing. Yeah, they're going to have raids. Ghost Recon Recon's going to have raids. We should definitely mention that at least.
yes. So it'll have some end game post-launch content. So raids will be a big
Yeah.
thing.
Division's going to have a raid soon, and Ghost Recon Breakpoint is going to have raids now too.
Everything getting raid.
Keep that trend going.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool.
Me too.
So if you guys are looking for more content on Breakpoint, please check out our feature that compares the similarities and differences between Breakpoint and Wildlands, and of course, plenty of other things we have up on the site about Breakpoint. So next up, Red Dead Online is out of beta. Woo!
Yeah, sure
And
is.
Yeah,
Yay.
it came with like a ton of new features. So, are you guys potentially still playing Red Dead Online?
Nope.
But I watched all the stuff
Yeah,
for the news stuff, for the out of beta stuff.
perfect.
Yeah.
Watched this morning, right?
Got some new game modes. I guess the story is a little bit longer now. Like they extended the story. Random events, that's good stuff.
I'm going to watch it right now.
Some new clothes.
So that's the nice thing about us being more casual in this little room instead of the studio. You can be on your phone.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We're never on our phone. I'm lying. Never happens.
I just want to see the 2-minute trailer. I didn't watch it before the show.
Well, it's just a story trailer. It just shows story stuff.
Yeah. So of course, with these sorts of things,
Bye.
Janet, what stuck out to you of the new updates? Because I know there is one.
New clothes.
No?
New clothes stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Just a cowboy up?
I love the cosmetics. I mean, I like the slice of life stuff from Red Dead Redemption 2. That's what pulled me in the most of everything. So any more of that I'm game for.
Whenever I talk about Red Dead, I always say how it's a place you can live in. It's like, oh yeah, it's time to go back to my Wild West life, even though it's not in the West. It's that cowboy time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
good.
and that's kind of the one of the big appeals of that game. It's so detailed and quaint. Obviously, there's plenty of combat as well. But I was just trying to get a bowl of soup. I don't know how y'all played, but I'm gonna take a bath.
The
I'm
first
gonna
thing I
walk
did was look
around.
through the comments, and everyone's like, "When do I get to own my own saloon and stuff like that?"
Yeah.
I just want to live there.
I'm just turning it into a simulation game.
Also-
Immediately is how I played it.
Kind of turn up the down MMO content. Just let us live here
Yeah.
in very different kind of ways.
It looks like they did a bunch of improvements for combat, getting
Yes.
griefed and stuff. They fixed some things where it's you'll be stronger if you don't engage, and so you could just
Would you like to read John Ryan's excerpt from the article?
Sure.
So John
Where's
Ryan
that?
is kind of our Red Dead Online expert, and we have an excerpt from his article.
Yeah. Our Red Dead Online expert, John Ryan, says the most noteworthy additions, my paper's see-through, in our opinion, are the playstyles and dynamic events designed to reduce griefing for players who want to explore and interact with the world as opposed to battling other players. The defensive playstyle adds a series of buffs against would-be aggressors. This includes unique icons, taking reduced damage from hostile players, and the inability to be meleeed, tackled, lassoed. Offensive players will experience Red Dead Online with all of its default settings and gameplay elements. So basically, what I take from this is playing on the offensive is basically in an MMO flagging yourself for PvP. You're like, I'm open to it. I'm fine with it. We're playing in defensive. Is hey, I just want to fish.
Just want to eat my
without someone coming up and pushing me off the dock.
Yeah, and I think that's really great because, there have been a lot of issues with people getting grief that way. I remember many games that I just get into a town and it's just a massive shootout, which is kind of exciting in its own way, but at the same time, it's if I just want to go take care of my horse and ride around, then
And people really like the fishing,
kind of a pain.
and people would just go around to the docks and they'd lasso you, they'd push you off the dock,
just trying to fish. Yeah, what the heck?
And that's
You
a
gotta,
good way-
hire a bodyguard.
Now there's competitive fishing.
Yeah.
People fish because it's a good source of income.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think it's a really good way for them to kind of pay attention to their community, and I think it'd be really cool to see them hopefully shoving those players in the same servers. So it's if you prefer to play defensive, you're just with more defensive people, and then an offensive people are kind of bundled together. So you still get that excitement, but you have the option to be a little bit parsed out.
Yeah, obviously it's hard to compare anything to how massive GTA Online was, and I don't think
Still
anything
is.
still is. I don't think anything really can reach that. But do we see this having any sort of longevity in those terms, or do we think this is just going to kind of be there and maybe just peter out?
I think what's hard about GTA Online is they have vehicles that it's hey, we can add the Batmobile, we can add the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and it's you just don't really get those options with. And so, the way they
Hey, we
make
can
money
add a
is
horse.
people are yeah,
You can add that one horse from that one show that recently aired.
Yeah.
exactly. But it's you see the DeLorean and you're I want the DeLorean, But they did add stuff CEO and you can make a business and stuff like that. So I can definitely see that stuff happening.
But do we think people
And
are
it's
going to be as
so-
drawn to it?
Well, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because I think one of the things that kind of has kept GTA Online thriving is its role-playing community.
Yep.
That is huge. And it's so entertaining if you haven't ever seen it. It's so cool to watch that all play out.
But that's only on PC, right? Because I'm pretty sure it's a mod.
I don't
the
know.
RP servers.
I don't know.
No, it's
So-
just, I think she just means the people that are like, howdy, pilgrim.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying is like there's
A
an
specific
actual
service
like
for them.
RP where you
Yeah,
actually
I mean, I
like
would assume
legit
those are-
level up.
You're talking
stuff
about
like that.
GTA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different, that's another thing.
Yeah, but that's still like part of like keeping GTA Online like thriving, right? Like
Of course.
that's a community. And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
building
So I
those
think if Red
communities
Dead
is
2
really
ever
hard.
comes to PC, I think that would open it
Okay,
up
yeah, that's a
for
good
more.
point.
Yeah, and then keep in mind, GTA Online's been around for many, many years, getting many updates, all of which you can see on the IGN Wiki.
Yeah, the game came out in 2013 and then PC in 2014, I think. So
Yeah, so
around for a while.
I think we'll like just see how it plays out. And like it is now just out of beta, which is kind of weird to think about. So there's a lot of potential for them to keep iterating on
Yeah,
this. and
it
making
technically
something
came
really
out
cool.
today,
Yeah,
even though it's been out for
just
6
brand
months.
I
brand
want
new baby that's 6 months old already.
I want the Red Dead Online version of Cunning Stunts. And I thought about that multiple times before I said it.
Yeah.
But you know,
was a tough live stream.
that was the one in GTA where they added the loop-de-loops and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So imagine that, but on a horse, like just some crazy horse,
Superpowered horse.
horsing around that you could do
Nice.
in Red Dead Online.
Horsing around.
Yeah, I would like that.
Nice. Okay.
That's all I got.
Yeah. I'm actually really
See myself
excited.
out, everybody.
This is a very goofy thing to be excited about. So they added some new Posse versus modes. One is an herb picking contest.
Finally.
I'm down. Competitive herb picking.
Yeah. Competitive
I don't know why
gardening.
it's so goofy. Yeah, I'd like it though. There's like new weapons, new showdown mode. I actually do like showdown a lot, even though it's very goofy, chaotic. Like you're not in here to be serious, competitive sort of thing. Have you guys played the battle royale mode in that?
Yeah.
In Showdown?
Oh yeah.
No,
It's
I
funny.
haven't.
I like it.
Yeah, I played the first
I like
one
it a lot.
and then I played a little bit of the second one.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's good.
HDR settings are important, and a new variant FPS control scheme. That's probably good for people that are like, I don't like this button here.
Yeah, it's always nice. So plenty of things coming to Red Dead Online. Exciting to see that. We'll see what happens.
Let me know if let us know if you're still playing Red Dead Online in the
Yeah,
comments.
absolutely.
I'm
kinda-
curious.
Yeah, like what are you guys still doing in there? Like how's it going?
Yeah.
I think I would. I always want to go back to it, but I just don't have a lot of friends who play it online, so it's kind of hard to just have a good time that way.
Yeah,
But
I did the whole campaign. I feel like I've
Yeah.
kind of experienced enough of Red Dead, so
Yeah.
I just moved on to other games.
Yeah, it's always hard for me to like pivot from, and I actually still haven't finished Red Dead's campaign. I don't know if I'm going to. I haven't had it spoiled for me yet, so I
Oh.
feel like maybe I should finish it.
You
I
should.
can
don't
see
look
because
at the comments.
Great.
I know because the story is like really good, and I did enjoy what I played of it, and I played like a lot of it, but just didn't see it all the way through. But it's always kind of hard for me to pivot from a game that feels so inherently single player to something that isn't. And that's just a tough transition for me personally, and I think a lot of players kind of have that. Like a game like Splatoon 2 where the focus is multiplayer and it happens to have a campaign, I can do both and it's no problem for me. But for this kind of like the mental shift of like now it's a world I can just be in is difficult because I'm used to it being in this kind of more contained package. But
Right.
we'll see. I mean, I'm open to it, especially if they add more like kind of, competitive herb picking and things. That's definitely my jam, like the weird sim stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like it's so massive already, and now it's like even more massive.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a lot.
It's tough when you put down a game and then come back to it after a while too. I think the only game where that worked out for me was Mass Effect 1. I put it down for like 6 months, came back,
Dang.
and I was basically at the end. So I just got to do the amazing last few missions, and I was like, oh, that was awesome. I'm so glad I finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also part of our jobs. It's hard to stick with things that are going on forever because we have so many other games that we need to play as part of work. So, I mean, it's like a really awesome thing, but also a thing to consider whenever we look at these really long games. So let's move on. We have more news to cover. So this one's not great. This is concerning. So Starbreeze might have a liquidity shortfall before the end of 2019, which means that they are running out of money. This came from a report just a few days ago. So they were the ones who developed Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, and they published Overkill's The Walking Dead, and owner of the Payday franchise. So there's a lot going on with that studio. And as for what can be done to avoid the company shutdown, acting CEO Michael Nurmark, has said that his main goal to avoid the unfortunate outcome will be securing funding. And then here's the quote from that. My main task is to secure financing for the company's future operations, Nurmark said. This involves both long-term financing we can use to build the Starbreeze of the future, but also making sure that the assets we have determined are unrelated to the core business, are managed in a commercially viable way. Once this financing has been secured, we will be able to look ahead and present a more detailed strategy for the future. Shortly after GamesIndustry.biz reported Rockstar acquired the Indian art production studio Dhruva Interactive. And I guess they worked on Halo 5, Sea of Thieves, and Payday 2, and they purchased that for $7.9 million.
That's like nothing.
Yeah, so I continue reading on that article from Games Industry, and I think Starbreeze originally purchased it for like, if I remember, it was like 8.5 or something. So they're selling it at a loss, and so it's just like, oh no. I mean, anytime we hear these things, it's really sad. Like, you just want to root for these people, and I hope that, like, being public about it will help them find some new investors, and whatever that means. And of course, like, they're an independent studio, and they like really pride themselves on that. Like, if you search for them, it's just like an independent game studio kind of thing, and they're really proud of that. So I hope that they can kind of figure out what happens going forward. Also from Games Industry Up is Starbreeze has not had an easy year either. So back in December, the Swedish authorities actually raided their headquarters to arrest somebody.
Jeez.
The person was arrested as part of an investigation regarding insider trading. So a lot going on for Starbreeze. So hopefully, like, best wishes to them that everything is okay and they figure out.
Yeah, I remember Overkill's The Walking Dead kind of had this weird, like, they would show like these story trailers and you didn't really know what it was. They looked cool, but they didn't say at all what the game was. And then the game came out, and people actually kind of liked it. Like, it was cool, but, like, it was supposed to also come out for consoles, and then they eventually were like, yeah, it's coming out for consoles, don't worry. And then they were like, all right, it's not coming out for consoles. And it kind of just went away. And then Payday came back on the Switch, Payday 2, and it was fun. But yeah, I think they need to do something with that franchise, because I remember playing it. I think we played it together.
We did,
and it was like fun. And then the second we stopped playing, I was like, cool, I'm probably never gonna play that again. Like, it just seemed kind of older, and it's like it'd be cool to see that franchise come back, rebooted. Yeah,
so but it's been a lot of unfortunate drama for sure, especially with the whole console port thing too. I know that kind of became a mess with people's pre-orders and those getting like canceled, and then it kind of being difficult to kind of to have like players get the information that they like needed in terms of what was going on, which is always difficult when obviously you're running a business and having to communicate with the consumer, but also dealing with all these things behind closed doors. So hopefully things pick up for the better.
Yeah, so that was another big bit of news to reflect on and bring up. So continuing on, Respawn is banning piggybacking players, or at least they are looking into it in Apex Legends.
Yeah. Now this is not players getting backpacked and actually contributing.
Yes.
This is players that are basically going AFK.
Yeah, so this is like the ultimate form of piggybacking in that they don't have any intention of actually playing. So Respawn had like a really good explanation of like what they describe this as. So these are people who do not collect a weapon, never fire a shot, or do any damage. So
sounds like a typical game for Destin Legary.
So it's like the extreme case, and this is something that they said in their post. So they put out a larger post kind of detailing like what they're working on right now for the upcoming patch, and that this is something they're looking into, so that because it was significant enough for them to have to call out, which is really unfortunate.
The thing, you get rewarded XP just for basically flying and landing in, and that's the problem.
So it's like if you just like kind of walk around every few seconds while you eat a burrito and then walk off and come back. And
people used to do that a lot in World of Warcraft too. You can queue up, get into an instant, or get into a
raid or a dungeon.
Yeah, or like the PvP mostly. And as long as you like clicked your mouse, it was fine. And so that people would people would just set macros or get a program that would just click their mouse every minute or so. And so you're like, where's our team? And then you look, and people are they're just dying over and over. And you're not getting much experience, but you're also not working at all. So eventually you're just people would find programs that would then re-queue them back up. And so they would just, because you would always spawn outside of the PvP person again, and then the mouse would click around until it finds it, and then it would right click, and then it would instant queue, and then you join, and then you just click.
The amount of work to avoid work is always something that is hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah, it was just like, do you
Especially when the work is gaming. Like,
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
fun, obviously, like, it's just kind
I'll
of...
admit, I used to use macros
Mark!
tools for.
Oh my God, you're part of the problem?
Farmville for the Facebook
yeah.
game.
Oh
man,
my God.
Clicking all those plants.
you gotta work for it more.
God.
You
Check-
cheese
And
the
so
Farmville
I
game?
would just click it and it would just go up and
Wow.
down. It would just go. It was awesome.
That's
Check
crazy.
this out. People were building robots in Mortal Kombat 11 because you could just hop into like player versus CPU mode, and as long as you hit restart, you would get the coins and souls that you would need. So they would just leave it on and go do whatever.
Yeah.
And just game the system because the cosmetics are ridiculously expensive in that game.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really funny to see on Reddit. I'm
Yeah.
like, congrats. People are building robots because your grind sucks.
I used to do that with Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 9 had a regen, like an ability called regen, where they would just get their health back, and so I would just tape down the left directional pad, and my character would just walk in a circle in the open world. It'd get into a battle, and X was also taped down, and it would just go, and they'd kill him, and they'd never die because they'd have regen on, and I'd legit come home, and they'd be 20 levels higher.
What game was for this?
Final Fantasy 9.
Okay, yeah.
Dang.
Final Fantasy had another game, Final Fantasy 12, where they actually encouraged you to create macros and let the game play itself. It was like this
'Cause
this
their
system.
battle system was- yeah.
Their battle system was sort of whack. So you would just get into encounters and you'd be like, here's what I want these characters to do and how to play off each other. And you could basically program them within the PS2 and just let them fight. But that was part of the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was cool.
Final Fantasy 13 kind of had that too, auto battle.
Maybe it was 13. So 11 was the MMO. What was 12?
I think 12 is the one you're thinking of.
And then what was
13 just
13?
had 13 was the lightning one, and 13
No,
was
that's the one I don't like.
Yeah, 13 you could just, instead of saying use fire, use attack, the game knew what was the best thing to use, so you would just literally click auto and it would just pick something for you.
Video
Right.
games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Though unfortunately here it, negatively impacts other people, unlike your corrupt
Yeah,
farm,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is just
True.
for
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
thing,
Your farm is for your
Good
pride.
point, Jim.
I wonder what that farm's up to now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to see it. It sounds insane.
I'll have to check. Oh, it's been
But
10
yeah, and I
years.
think that's always unfortunate too with games like this where like at least when I'm playing like multiplayer games like this online, it's like it kind of takes a while for you to get those matches that you feel like this is a good match that I had. I can close the software and feel good about myself with this one. You kind of need a certain amount, like when you play for like an hour, or maybe you want a certain amount of wins. So it gets really frustrating when those experiences are negative because someone specifically made it negative, kind of almost going out of their way to do so. So
Well, if you look at other battle royales, you can, if you're like, oh, I don't have friends to play with, you can jump in singles, or maybe you just have one friend duos. But to play Apex, you
That's a
have
great
to
point, yeah.
jump in with 3 people, and so you're kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place. You're like, I either want to play or I want to play with a pickup group that is potentially gonna not be fun to play with.
Yeah, and the hard thing too is like I've had a lot of really great games with random people. Like it's been awesome sometimes, but then
I've
I've
had
also
really
had the
bad.
games where we have like that one extra person and they're just like screaming into their mic. It's like, could you please not? And then you mute them, which is nice. It's a little bit easier to do that now. And then I've also had the one like where the random will just drop by themselves, like
Yeah.
somewhere across the map, and like
You get into a fight,
Good
you're like,
luck.
where's the other person? You're like, they're across the map.
it's like,
Yeah.
see you
Come
later,
on.
dude. But I think this could be happening a little bit more because we're getting toward the end of the battle pass. So I
Oh,
could see
yeah.
people trying to like grind for those levels. So it's like the work to get work done, I guess, is because if a big part of the battle pass is just surviving. So like you can get a lot of XP for like surviving through long matches. And so people are surviving a long time with like a good crew, which is also weird because they're assuming that this crew is going to carry them pretty far
Yeah.
without an extra person, which is already harder. Then maybe they think that it'll help them level up faster.
They could also just turtle, just hide, and be fine. Yeah, that's a
I've
bummer.
done that before.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I only do that whenever both of my people quit out. If they
Yeah.
quit out at the drop, then I just turtle somewhere. I just
Yeah.
like try to like get sneak kills if I can.
Yeah, it's a strategy for solo. Like if your team has been wiped basically and you can't get their flags.
You might as well
What are they
just-
called? Flags?
Your
I don't
banners.
remember. Banners. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that's Apex Legends. Still playing that. Very excited for season 2.
Nice.
Hopefully it's good.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah. All right, and I think that brings us to our unlocked block.
Just try. I feel like if they can see us, I don't even care.
Guys, so many people can't see us.
That's true.
I need to listen to
Ghosts.
these sounds and come up with a little story that I'm going to act out during the sound effect.
Yeah.
That one had a phone and like something opens, a door opens.
Yeah, that was an adventure.
There's a lot going on there.
I want to know who made those.
One of our fans.
Oh,
a
that's
long
awesome. Cool.
time ago. Yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah, it's so cool hearing them because as a former fan now on the show, it's just like, oh, nostalgia. I remember listening to the show when I was in college, doing my dishes and stuff. It's just very cool. So this week we do not have a trivia block because Ryan's not here, and so we cannot take points. So instead, I just kind of threw together a loot box for us since, again, Ryan's not here, so we don't have email access. So sorry, guys. Please do send in your loot box questions, topics, whatever you may have, to Ryan. Whatever email he usually shouts out.
Unlock at IGN.com.
That's what I thought. Thank you. So I posed a question to you guys. In light of the disappointment with a certain show's trajectory, I'm sure everyone can guess which it is. I want to talk about more positive things. Which game series do you guys think has a satisfying ending? Like gets it right? What gets it right?
So it's not a series, but I'm going to tell you a game that I really enjoyed the ending of.
Okay, yeah. I mean that's still a big thing too.
Already not following directions. Go ahead.
It was really emotionally impactful for me to see the ending of the Ultratech Corporation and Killer Instinct and see that idol was defeated. No, I'm just kidding. In reality, Super Mario RPG. I think Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, that's what it is, right, Mark?
Yep.
Yeah. So the ending of that and sort of the story told in that particular game, it was a one-off. So I really liked how that closed and what happened with Gino at the end and how he like went back to being just a doll, but he like brought peace back to the world and everything. I thought it was just a really, really fun game that it still holds a special place in my heart.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Yeah, this is probably gonna have some spoilers.
I thought about not saying it, but then I'm like, the game's like 30 years old.
It's very old.
Yeah.
Miranda's going to yell at me because I already talked about it earlier. I thought Uncharted had a really good ending.
Mark, we're not allowed to talk about
Oh,
You
you see
talked
my
about
face?
a Nintendo game.
I mean, it's fine, guys. If we have
That's what I was thinking
from
of too
a
for this. I
game
was like,
series,
just-
it's hard.
Yeah, well,
It's
I'm just thinking of like long-running things, right? Because,
That are also done. So
yeah,
that's
That's hard,
that are like
yeah.
finally done. It's weird to think about where it's
Long
like
running Destin.
It was a long game. It was like 40 hours.
Is Uncharted really done though? Because there's still those
Yes.
side games coming out.
I think it's
Yeah,
done.
Mark.
done. Lost
Well, the
Legacy
main-
is such
the
a
main
side
game,
right.
story.
The main game is
So
done.
yeah, Nathan Drake's story. I think
There
by
we
the
go.
time it got to 4, it's like, okay, this is 4
A 4
games.
game trilogy,
How is
yes.
this going to how is this going to wrap up? And I thought the ending was fantastic. But because you're talking about a show on here, I know you said what game series, but I also want to mention a show
Oh.
that I thought had a really, really good ending. Breaking Bad. Like the last
Breaking
season
Bad
of
was
Breaking
very
Bad
nice.
Yeah,
is
I super
fantastic.
dug that ending.
Yes.
Hunt, I agree. Great ending. Controversial at the time. I would also say Sopranos.
I was literally just thinking Sopranos. Yeah.
Great
I've never
ending,
watched
right?
I liked Mad Men. Mad Men ended pretty well.
I never
Yeah.
watched Mad Men.
Yeah,
I will
well,
trust
it ends with him singing in a Pepsi commercial.
That's
I mean-
also wrong, but
Well, that's
that's like double wrong.
Spoilers. Also, you're wrong.
that's sort of how it ends.
It's not that.
No, he sells the biggest marketing.
It's Dr. Pepper.
It is a soda.
It's maybe one of more important
Yeah.
Yeah, shows kind of
spoilers, I guess.
weirdly like their last season's always so different
Yeah.
than the rest of the show. Some of my favorite shows they're like comedies, but it's like The Office and Parks and Rec. Like The Office, like the last 3 seasons are very different. But specifically Parks and Recreation, it's like 7 seasons of like the same thing, and then in the 8th season, all of a sudden everything's different.
Yeah, they have to
Nobody works
figure-
there anymore. None of them like each other anymore. And
Spoilers.
then spoilers.
I'm
I think that show ends great.
Where it's
Parks and
like
Rec.
I think it is
Oh,
too.
I don't like the last season.
I
But we
think-
can
I
fight
think-
later.
I also
up.
think that The Office ends fairly well,
And
but
it's
like
okay.
at the time,
Just don't
I was
watch
just
the
like,
season that it's in. But the last episode, good.
I was just like, why is this like this? But yeah, Breaking Bad was one of those things where Breaking Bad's weird because season 5 is kind of like 2 seasons because it was the first 8 episodes, and then there's a huge time jump, and then eight more episodes, and so. But I think Breaking Bad is like one of those shows where from start to finish, like, wow.
Right.
What?
I think we need to have some fights after this.
What were you gonna say?
Huh?
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was going to
question.
say that I think Uncharted ends poorly and it's undeserved. I really don't like that ending.
For 3.
I didn't get to the fourth
Four,
game.
yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
I hated the first
that
3
doesn't
so
matter.
much that I couldn't get to the fourth.
Oof.
I was like 2.
But I
And
played
then
them in the
I-
modern
yeah.
era, so
that.
that's my caveat. I feel like at the time people were like, "This is awesome."
Oh, I
I played
played
it,
the
like,
first
last
3
year, and I was like,
Uncharted's
this
when
is
I
not
worked
that
at
good.
IGN. I had never played them.
When that doesn't help me.
Okay, within the last 3.5 years.
Okay, I'm like,
I-
I don't know why
I-
you expect me to have your LinkedIn like all ready to go.
No, I played them the Uncharted the collection, the PS4 ones.
I'm just
Like
not-
I never played them when they were on PS3.
Oh, okay, well then you have no excuse. No, okay. I guess for Miranda, did you say your game for your?
No, please go ahead.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to do Sony. I thought I would do a Sony game as well, but I think I'll go different. I'm going to go with Life is Strange, the first one. Though, yeah. I guess, does that count as the series ending if there's a second one, but they're in a different universe? I don't know. But I like that ending because I felt like it, took things, I don't want to spoil it, but it took things to the extreme. And then what was nice is that it followed through with its like thematic thread, which is the idea of like, you can't really change fate. Like one of the big questions in the series and like the main game mechanic is that you can rewind time and you're trying to like make things happen and have them be good, right? You want to like save people unless you play evil or something, right? Like you don't want to do any harm to people. You want to help everyone out. But at the end of the day, like hard decisions need to be made and not everyone can make it or survive or have things be ideal. And I thought that was really good because it kind of ends on a decision where it's like, there is no good choice here. Like in some way it's going to be negative. And I thought it was nice to kind of, close that out. For my Sony game one, I've mentioned on I think a couple shows already that my favorite game ever is the Jak and Daxter series. And I thought that ended well too. I mean, it closed out its narrative threads and it feels like, okay, this is done. And the gameplay evolved over the course of the games. And I feel like that's all you can really sort of want out of game series, like a conclusive story and also some type of growth. The questions that were in the air are now answered. Like in Jak and Daxter, it was like, oh, what's up with the precursors? And you find that out at the end, which is really nice. And you learn a couple extra things along the way. One thing that's kind of weird about games as opposed to like TV shows, though sometimes it can happen with TV too, or like spin-offs, like Breaking Bad had Better Call Saul and things, is that sometimes you're like, it's over. But like, is it though? Like at any time, they could do Jak 4 and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want them to.
Or Beyond
but also,
Good and Evil 2.
But yeah, but also I would buy it because I have to. But
Yeah.
like, I there's some things that you love so much that you almost don't want to see it continue because
Oh, absolutely.
it just kind of starts to get bogged down. I mean, I kind of feel that way with the Ratchet and Clank series. Like, it's a great series. It's really fun, but I've stopped playing those games a few games ago just because I'm like, it's just the same thing over and over again. It doesn't really evolve. And at the end of the day, it kind of almost leaves like a sour taste in my mouth in terms of the series. Like I kind of can't even look at it as fondly as I did as a kid because it just feels stale at this point. So I think that can
You
happen
didn't play
as
the
well.
new one, the PS4 one?
No, I know it's
really
good.
good.
Yeah, it's weird because it's good. It doesn't do anything wrong. It's just I grew tired of seeing the same thing kind of over and over again with it and not having any growth, which I think is something that Mario does really well. It's always kind of changing it up to avoid that. But
Mario
it's hard.
64's ending is really good. Gets the cake.
It is good. So that's a weird thing that I kind of want to also bring up with this topic is that a lot of game series just don't end.
Yeah.
Like if we're kind of struggling to find, it's like, what's the big Microsoft series that we like super connected to that ended?
It would have been like Halo 3 at the time.
Exactly.
And then
Or
now
like
they're
Gears,
adding,
had a great ending, but now it's still going, which I'm super happy for because
Yeah,
I like where it's
sure.
going.
Right.
But it's also just like you're not done yet.
like-
That's fine. That's fine for now.
It's like Star
good.
Wars 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Then there's 1, 2, and 3. Now there's 7, 8, 9. For me, Halo, it's Halo 1, 2, and 3. And 3, that ending at 3, I think is a really, really good closing point.
Yeah.
And right now we're on
It's
4,
sad,
5, Infinite.
but
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, things will end eventually,
Yeah.
and we'll see if we
Star
like them.
Wars.
Nothing really ends.
Star Wars as we know
When
it
money is
finally
involved.
That's true.
It's like no one ever dies because we want to keep
Because
selling
capitalism.
things.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
No one dies in capitalism except for people without money. But
It's true. So for my games,
Yeah.
so I decided to pick two. First off, this is going to be like one probably very disagreed with, but also two kind of is not really an end, but is an end for me.
Okay.
It's Mass Effect.
The first one.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the first three. I
Oh, the
actually,
first 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like 3.
I think I could consider that an ending.
Well, so it's the end of like
Because of-
Shepard's journey, right? And I know people really hate the ending, so I got to play it after it was patched, like way after the fact, and I loved it. I don't know. I think it's fine. It's fine. Please be nice to me. Anyway, so that was
I like
my
the
thing.
end of 1. I think
like the
1.
one.
I
Me
think
too.
I think the story is best in 1.
Oh,
2 is the best mix. I say this all the time on the show. I feel like I'm just a broken record. And then 3 is the best gameplay.
yeah. Three's my favorite of all of them.
Mass Effect
I cried so much.
Andromeda is my favorite Mass Effect.
We don't talk about Mass
Are you
Effect.
serious?
I
It's the
like
only one
Andromeda.
It's the only one I've ever played.
Wow.
But I also
For those
like
people
it.
that only watch the new Star Wars or the
also
old new
like
Star Wars, because now there's new Star Wars.
And 1, 2,
I've never had an interest for Mass Effect, and then when I worked here, and I've never. No Mass Effects have come out since I've worked here, except for Andromeda, and I got put on Andromeda, and I ended up liking it a lot. And so a lot of people don't.
I mean, I like it.
I don't really care.
It's the thing. It's being compared to the original Mass Effect trilogy,
Yeah.
which is so good. So it's like has a super high bar, and so anything that it does that is not incredible is already like a super detriment to it because
Yeah.
it's not the same as that. Which is a part of the thing of like a series going on. When does it really need to? Like, can we be done with this? Like, I
Like
think they
The
told a
Walking
great
Dead?
story. Yeah, and that's the thing. Of,
Wrap
like
it
things
up.
not really knowing how to die. And like, I was glad to play Andromeda, but at the same time, if the trilogy would have been it, that would have been great. I think that makes a lot of sense. You know.
The only thing I don't like about it is that I feel like it got really goofy near the end of 3. Like a lot of the storytelling, they just leaned into humor. And then Andromeda, when that came out, I feel like they kind of just stuck with that. I never felt connected to the characters in the same way. I didn't feel like there was anything super compelling about the brother-sister.
I don't think
Andromeda.
the characters like were consistently as strong as what we saw in the Mass Effect, but at the same time, in the original trilogy, we got like 3 games, and you know that's a lot of time to learn all of these different characters. Whereas like the first Mass Effect game had so few characters introduced, like fewer companions. Like you're getting to know them a little bit more personally, and then you have so much time to get to know them.
Yeah.
So I always like try to keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I liked how that original trilogy ended a lot. As for my other game that I really like how it ends is Gravity Rush. So Gravity Rush 2 ends. I know people didn't play it, and
I
that's
did.
fine. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I really like how that ends. That was just all I was going to say about it, because if
nobody's
there is
played
another
it.
game, that would be cool, but I don't think there will be.
Yeah. Gravity Rush 2 is so good.
It's so good.
I know I need to
game's
play
really
that.
fun.
'Cause I'm like, I like Gravity. Yeah,
I think-
let's go. Let's do it.
Well,
That's-
then you may not like Gravity
Ooh.
Rush because not
They
a
just
whole lot
mess
of
with
not
gravity.
a whole lot of gravity in that game.
Just going wild.
Well, I like messing with Gravity.
That's
oh,
actually
then
to be-
perfect.
Yes. That's one of the series that I really wish like Xbox could steal from Sony. Just take Gravity Rush. I love it so much. It's
Yeah.
so good and delightful and weird and so great. Anyway,
Gravity Rush is fun.
yeah. So that is our loot box for the week. Thank you guys for answering my question.
Yeah.
With that, I think we are kind of ready to start closing things out. I know it's a little bit on the shorter side today, but like the news is not as flowing just because it is pre E3 time, so people are holding their announcements. So what do you guys have going on? What would you like to plug?
Nothing. At
Great,
Destin Legary. Management stuff. It's great. It's
Oh, yeah.
wonderful.
It's exciting.
I'm doing something for that Splitgate game
Oh
with
yeah,
CJ.
Split
Oh, yeah.
I got wrangled. I'm basically booked like all week with either production or stuff like that. So, yay.
Ooh,
Oh, the wedding.
hang in there.
Oh yeah.
When's your
Yay.
wedding?
I'm getting married on May 28th.
That's so
So
good.
Congratulations.
that's also going
Dang, that's
on.
so soon.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
Very
we wanted
Jeez.
to do it. We were talking about doing it in the summer, and then we realized my summer's like packed, so that's not going to work. So we also didn't want to wait a whole year to do it next year because we run into the same problem. So we're doing a smaller one faster.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very stressful. Congratulations.
Yeah, I got stressed hearing you say that.
I was
Every-
like, you guys like just got engaged.
Yeah.
Most stuff's booked, so
Oh,
that's
we're
good.
there. Yeah,
Oh, congrats.
cake's done. Oh, I got to email them about the cake. Oh God.
Anyway, send your love and support to Destin Legary. So, Jan,
That
what do
was
you got?
a lot.
What do you got
That
going
was a
on?
lot
I
to
know,
take in.
yeah.
I have to like take a second. I'm working on the Rage 2 wiki, so stay tuned to that. As the game comes out, we're going to be updating that with just like a bunch of pages that people are searching for, adding our walkthrough. Other than that, I just had my first review at IGN go up, which was exciting.
Congrats.
Thanks. It was for Life is Strange 2, Episode 3, so we'll see if that ends up being a series that has a good ending. We'll find out when 4 and 5 come out. And those be the main things that I'm working on right now. So yeah.
Last week, I plugged on the show that I was writing a piece about Sea of Thieves that has gone up now.
Nice.
So if you look for why now is a great time to return to Sea of Thieves, I'll tell you why in that video. You can follow me on Twitter at @Mark_Medina. And as far as anything else is E3 stuff. E3's coming.
What if the article was just like, why now Sea of Thieves? What am I doing? How do I do anything? I forgot all the controls.
Oh,
That's how it is when I hop into a new game.
Destin tried playing Minecraft yesterday.
what?
I just need to throw that out there.
Yeah,
It wasn't pretty.
I haven't played Minecraft in 5 years. Except for on my phone, like, creative mode. But like the 10th anniversary just happened, and there's all the carts and everything were in there, and I couldn't get the cart to go on the track, and I was so mad because I was doing it right, but it turns out they had built it with a button, and that's the only way you can get it to spawn onto the track, and I was so mad when I found that out.
It's very strange.
Well, congratulations on discovering that.
Yeah, yay. Minecraft's
Minecraft.
great, but raw.
Yeah. We all know what it is. It's good. And then you can follow me at Havoc Rose, and that's Havoc with a K, pretty much everywhere. Right now, I am kind of also in the throngs of E3. We have plenty of stuff planned and just getting ready to cover. I did just recently put up a Detective Pikachu thing because, of course, I did. I kind of compared the game to the movie and kind of just showed up the differences and similarities. So please check that out.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was super detailed.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that game a lot. So I was really excited to dig into
Yeah, the plot of that game seems crazy. I was like, should I play this? This sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think I always copy it. I was like, hey, remember, this is actually a kid's game. So, and it does play like it, but it's still a lot of fun. You get to learn more about Pokemon.
Cool.
What else? I am also working on a lot of, again, E3 things. So please, I'm going to say it again for like the third time. Check out the E3 wiki. Like, we work really hard on it. So we are working on confirming all those games. Last week we read off the list, and there are more games now.
Yeah, it feels like every day.
Don't remember. Yeah, pretty much every day there's new games.
It's honestly a great wiki, Miranda, and you've been doing it for years, and
Yep.
I use it as like a source to it's a good collection of all the news and all the stuff that you may have missed.
Yeah, it's my child.
I especially like that we have so many time zones listed.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
from Chicago, and we have CT, and I always had to calculate it myself, and I hated doing that. So it's really cool that ours is so comprehensive and so inviting to literally anyone from anywhere who might want to know like when things are happening.
Yeah, so you might have to do some calculations. We have like 4 time zones listed, I think. Might add more later. Anyway, thank you guys so much. For Dustin, Janet, and Mark, I'm Miranda Sanchez. Thank you guys for joining us on Unlock this week. We will see you later.